So tune in as we network the community with a platform for open, frank, and informative discussion. Only on Soufriere FM, your community radio station.
88.5 Soufriere FM. What can I say? I'm so sorry for the delay, but we have to wait. Royalties in the house. Good morning to our wonderful SAT members. It's a pleasure to have you guys joining us here in the studio. And a lot of persons are not aware the month of February is Black History Month. And this is where we're going to impart you all with some knowledge this morning about who we are, our ancestors in two folds, as well as a communal wake for our late SAT member, Mr. Innocent Emab, also known as Mabla. Again, good morning to you guys. It's a wonderful pleasure to have. I'm not the only female here. I'm just realizing that it's an honor to be here sitting with all the males. A time to introduce yourselves. We start with you, Mr. Regis.
Raymond Regis.
That's all you got.
Steve Arco. Well, BA Raymond Regis is the youth coordinator and in a kind of a way public relations assistant in the group. Gabriel Jude Pala is the general secretary and treasurer, and I am the president and artistic director of the group.
Nice. And I, as you all know, Miss Epifan, I'm actually the host for this program. It's always a great pleasure to be here and, of course, educating purposes. To our listening audience, we ask you to grasp everything that has been taught today. Some of you all may be the first time that you're actually hearing, but what's Black History Month? What is that all about? So someone can actually take the reins with February and this specific observance.
If we don't tell we story, who go tell it for we? If we don't write we story, who go write it for we? Se bouwa pou nou en Afrique, wache nou en chous nou. Se salopouya maltraité nous kon zanimo, mais nous vivons toujours ka bâti nation.
Oui, nous vivons toujours ka bâti nation. What is Black History Month? Well, as the words indicate, it is a month within which we celebrate the glorious history of the Black race. We have been conditioned to look at Blacks only from 400 years ago when we were taken from our home. Yowashe nu and Shusnu carried us across the Atlantic and landed us in the Caribbean and other places to be the slaves on the plantations. It was about the concept of accumulation, which is what led to the present capitalist imperialist system that we still have, where the focus is only on accumulation. What is in it for me? What can I get? What can I take? So we were dislodged from our roots, brought here, and that became the focus of our history. So when Black history was taught, it was only taught from the perspective of slavery. So your history started 400 years ago. The reality, of course, is that that was when our history ended, because that was when the Moors were run out of Spain. After the Moors had taken over control of Spain and introduced civilization, built the first university in Spain, the University of Salamanca, and educated the Spanish and the Europeans. When they ran the Moors out of Spain, that was when they started our history 400 years ago. But our history goes long before. Long before. And some of us can trace our history to as much as 400,000 years and before.
And it is because of the omission of our history long before they uprooted us from the motherland that Black History Month came to be. As a matter of fact, the precursor to Black History Month was Negro History Week, as brought about by Woodson. That's the right name? Yes, Woodson. in about 1916 thereabouts, and then it developed into Black History Month around 1926 by this prominent American historian. As a matter of fact, this prominent American historian who brought about the idea of Black History Month was a garbage truck driver that became a prominent historian at Harvard University.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, the history of the black race, the glorious history of the black race, who civilized the rest of humanity, became covered with this slavery issue. And it was made to seem as if we were civilized on the plantations. Of course, those who have read the story of how a slave was made understood that we were not civilized on the plantation. If the process of making a slave could be that brutal, that is not a means of civilizing anybody. Yeah? And Willie Lynch, who proposed the method, articulated it very clearly in his writings. And it went something like that in a brief. He said, you will take a female who's pregnant, you will bring her elder children, male and female, you will bring her husband, and you will bring the rest of those that you want to serve as slaves. You will beat this female till she's near dead. Then you will beat the husband till he's near dead. You will beat the eldest son till he's near dead. Then you will take this eldest son, tie him to 4 horses, pour tar on his back, pour feathers on that tar, light him, set him ablaze, and then you're going to whip those 4 horses and dismember him in 4 directions. The trauma that this is going to cause to those who are watching it, you will not need to make a slave for another 400 years. And of course, indeed, this brutality caused slavery that lasted for a period of 400 years. It is within our conscience that we still have not been able to get rid of it, even if we have gotten rid of the chains. So the slavery is embedded in us. And we see the distrust that have existed among our black brothers because of this legacy of slavery that was brutally imposed upon us. We did not come, when they brought us to the Caribbean, we were not slaves. They made us slaves through this process. And it was not a process that was civil. It was brutal. And it did a lot of harm psychologically to us that we are only now beginning to awake ourselves from.
Also, it is a period that we will concentrate on great black men and women who have contributed immensely. Also, not internationally, regionally, but also locally.
Now, I am happy you mentioned the local vibration in terms of how do we, as St. Lucians, recognize and deliberate and celebrate Black History Month. Well, look at what is happening in St. Lucia around February, because February is the month of Black History Month. And there's a reason why it is February, because we were told that Dr. Carter Goodwin Hudson, the one who are responsible for Black History Month, of course with some others, he chose February, they said, because it was the month that Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass was born. That's why February was chosen. Now, in the St. Lucian context, we have a wonderful way to experience Black History Month. In my opinion, January is the month of the Nobel laureates, and that's the 23rd. That's the day, coincidentally, that both of them were born on the same day in January, just different years, right? So we could start Black History Month on that date, celebrating our Nobel laureates and moving into independence, ending with independence celebration, but putting the emphasis on our story, our Black story, our St. Lucian story, and highlighting the achievement of St. Lucians. You know, and I show who they will deal with Flobogaya and how that this is the histories, the stories that are the narratives that are little told in our St. Lucian context, that our children are growing unawares of such a glorious and proud history of their own people right here in our country. And so that is my suggestion to the powers that be and the authorities that be. I'm suggesting that we start our celebration in St. Lucia Black History Month on the 24th of January, taking us to the 22nd of February Independence.
Even before I allowed Woody to take the mic, it's interesting that you make mention, because presently in my curriculum at a primary school at the grade 5 level, we are dealing with community identity. And we were looking at different aspects of individual who have contributed locally. But again, how many of us, I might know, because I'm involved culturally in my community, how many other teachers within our community or within St. Lucia knows about those local people, and to highlight it and inform the children about the importance of these people who have made contribution?
Well, I don't think the research is lacking, really. What is lacking is persons going to blow the dust of the books and the documents that are on the shelves and in the cupboards and in the boxes.
Yeah.
Because the information is not lacking. There is ample research work that has been done on these things. Persons have their degrees and their PhDs, and you hear them giving lectures and doing all sorts of stuff. And those persons who are interested in that, in pursuing that line, have ample available sources from which to dwell in and educate themselves, particularly if they are educators who have to pass on information to our youth. They need to go and ensure that they do their research and that they are informed. Otherwise, we'll be wallowing, what is it, top in mud?
Yeah, staying top in mud.
That you come in to teach something that you don't have a grasp of the content. It really doesn't make any sense. You should get a grasp of the content.
No, but
and
again,
it is available.
But to interject you, but see, you said so, but there are also, like, for example, you have new teachers who enter the service, and they might not be privy to this information.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying it doesn't drop out of the sky.
Yeah.
You have to go and do the research to prepare yourself. I mean, you came here this morning, you prepared yourself. Yeah. Miss Cabrera, who is the host, prepared herself. So likewise, a teacher ought to prepare himself or herself with the content that he or she needs to impact. If you don't have the content, how are you imparting it? It doesn't work that way. Now, Vaco mentioned that we could indigenize this thing. And while he's speaking, I'm hearing Brother George, who for the longest while was advocating the need to indigenize our education system. But Brother George is not even being recognized as a hero. Nothing is said of those heroes of our time. You only hear those that are relevant to the two political parties. So you'll hear John Compton, you'll hear George Charles. Outside of that, you hear nobody. It's as if others who have made their contribution is not made valid. Yeah? And you will recall Soufriere Action Theatre efforts at reversing this trend when we started the Flobogaya Awards, named after Flobogaya, who was our local Harriet Tubman.
Nanny of the Maroon.
Or Nanny of the Maroons, the underground railway, where we attempted to move persons from the slavery chains to freedom. Yeah? And Flobogaya was the one doing that on island. She was also known as Nenen. Yeah? And Wash Nenen at Fonjalib is named after her, because Wash Nenen is that big rock with the cave under, where when she took the slaves off the plantation, they would spend the night there. At least 6 of them could comfortably sleep in that cave. And from there, they would travel through Rabot, through Sulphur Springs, through the forest, and reach as far as Tuapiton, where our famous Rasta singer, what's his name, Nati Kongara, people have made their home. Yeah? So this whole history, that's why this region was named Peter Flo, because it was named after Flobogaya. Yeah? So we expected really, when the Soufriere Square was being redone, that some sort of a statue, even if it was a faceless one, of Flobogaya would have been placed at that square.
Some form of
And that the
monument.
square would have been renamed after Flobwagaya because that's where she met her demise, where she was beheaded by a guillotine on that square after she was betrayed and captured. Yeah. So there is that history and there is that persona, a great persona that we can highlight during this period of Black History Month. Yeah. Of course, if we talk about Nobel laureates, you look at Sir Arthur, and Sir Arthur was pitch black. There's no doubting that he's an African man. Derek Walcott is a little fairer skin, but the melanin can't be disputed either. There is melanin in that body, and therefore he's black. And we must clarify that when we say black, we are not talking about a color. We're talking about a complexion, and that complexion has to do with the ability of the body to produce melanin. So if you're a Shabin, you're not white. You are black because there's melanin in your skin. There are areas of your body that are darker. Your hair is dark. So it's about the melanin man.
That's true.
So we're celebrating the melanin man. Okay. And we have enough of those melanin men in our society to celebrate that we can highlight during Black History Month.
I definitely agree with you. And if I were to extract from some of the points you made, I think I'm not bashing the teachers, but I think the history we're being taught is not history per se, but it should delve into, again, us, who we are as a people, and even those persons who have made some significant strides, that we need to give them the flowers.
The history that for many, many decades we have taught in schools is the history, the perspective of other people about us.
True.
Black History Month is about giving our perspective, delving into our true history from our own authors, from our own storytellers, from our own narrators. That's the difference. That's the difference. And we have not seen a significant change in that history, in the teaching of the history and in the curriculum or the syllabus of that history. I do not know whether my other comrades agree with that point of view.
Yeah,
but that's,
it was the view of the colonialists. Yeah? And of course, if somebody comes into your house, knock out your husband, take over the house, make you his wife, right? So your husband now cannot think freely as to what his position is in that house, what his status is in that house. And he's placed in some little house in the yard. You think this guy who took over your house and took over your life is going to ever tell your husband that he is actually the owner of the house and that he is the husband? He's not. He's going to give the story that allows him to perpetuate what he's doing. And
Definitely.
That's exactly what the colonialists did when they wrote this history and tell us about William Wilberforce fought to free slaves. Who is mad enough to believe that the persons who instituted slavery fought to dismantle it? No. We know that they did not fight to dismantle it. They championed a cause of dismantling it when it was no longer economically viable to sustain the system of accumulation. So they had to get rid of it and bring in salaried labor, which was a better way of maintaining the system of accumulation. That's what it was. So they were not doing anything for you. They were doing it for them. But they wrote it in such a way that when you teach your history, you teach it as if they were the ones that this was a very good guy who fought for the slaves. Really?
Which is true. And even adding to that point as well, I mean, it's often debated who actually discovered our beautiful island. We were lost in transit as to who. Was it really Christopher?
Well, is the word discover the right word? I think that's what the question should be.
Yes.
Because if I'm sitting here and you come here and you found me here, so am I watching you discovering me?
No, you're not.
Yeah, then I take you to all my major sites, take you to Monjimi and show you, well, look, this is my highest peak. That's the route to it. That's how you get to it. I take you to the source of the river and tell you, this is where this river begins. You can't even walk the distance. I have to carry you because you're unable to walk the terrain. And then you say you discovered? I mean, this is what we say in that it is the hunter writing the story of the hunt. If the lion were to write the story of the hunt, it would be a different story.
Very different story.
Which is so true.
Yeah. So the hunter wrote a story that glorifies him. The lion would have written a story that glorifies the lion. Yeah? So we are rewriting our story to glorify us.
Very true. And what I could say in terms of Black History Month, we know, yeah, you can say it's significant, but then there's not much emphasis being placed, as you rightfully shared. Even me listening here, and I'm being a bit fascinated with who was Flo Gaio, whatever that
From
story.
Bagayo.
Who exactly was that? What is the real tale to that story? Because I'm like lost.
Well, we do know that the French attempted to claim her, the
Yes.
British attempted to claim her when her name became famous. Yeah. But when she was getting rid of the slaves, the aim was not to claim her, the aim was how to kill her, which they succeeded in doing, and they beheaded her. Yeah. So therein again is how they move the goalpost from one point to the next when it suits them. Yeah. And I want to drag in, because I can't afford not to, the situation taking place in Palestine, where we see a similar thing happening. Yeah. That a people who were once abused now turn around and abuse a people who gave them part of their land for a home. So you come to my house, I offered you a little house in the yard, and then you take over my entire house. And then you claim that you are defending your rights to take over my entire house, when I only offered you a piece to have a homeland because you had suffered and I sympathized with you. You know. But it appears to be in the nature of a particular type of people to operate in that manner and to attempt to justify it by controlling the narrative. And that's why we have to control our own narrative, which is why Black History Month is important, so that we can take control of our own narrative of what is happening. We saw the same happening in the Russia-Ukraine war, right? Where the narrative was taken over. And certain radio stations and TV stations were banned so that you couldn't hear their point of view. And who banned them? The very same people who say you have freedom of conscience, freedom of speech. So that's what it is, you know. They say whatever is necessary at the time.
True.
But the operation differs from what they say.
But with all of that being said, it's happening similar to maybe see our backyard with Guyana and Venezuela as well. I think it's really sad when the nations are actually constantly at each other's throats. Again, when you speak about history, you speak of unification and all those different things as well. What is the goal and the mission at the end of the day?
But it's the same people. Who are the persons who decided to mark out the boundaries? But it's the same Europeans.
Yes.
It seems everywhere that there's a major problem in the world, you can trace the colonial countries. Yeah. So they were the ones who colonized. They were the ones who decided where the boundary would be between Guyana and Venezuela, which is causing problems now. They did the same with Sudan and South Sudan. You tell me that a country has oil, and you divided the country in such a way that where the oil must pass through to get to the coastline, you call it another country.
Yeah.
So I have the oil, you have the coastline. I can't sell the oil because you're not allowing me through your coastline. You know, but who does that type of division? You know,
it's crazy.
We have this problem between India and Pakistan. Likewise with Kashmir, they divided and they left this bit. They chose which bit to leave. That bit that involves Pakistan, India, China. They left that bit. So there's always an avenue for war to create tension, so there cannot be unity. And they do that all over the place.
Yeah, that's the history.
That's what they did in Africa likewise.
That's the history.
Divide it in such a way that one tribe now have to fight with another tribe because you encroach on their land, when it was possible to divide it in a different way.
But even today, that's what we're seeing in terms of the influence of war and gang and guns and all those different things as well. Applied in our present society, what lessons now can be applied? Do we just join the bandwagon and say, because they're doing this, we're going to do that too? Or do we stand up and take the bull by the horn and doing the necessaries, even if it means losing 1-2 persons, you know?
Well, Soufriere Action Theatre, without being boastful, have taken the bull by the horn. We have always, in our community, taken the bull by the horn. And that's why in some areas, we are being stigmatized. We are being denied. But they cannot deny us because we know who we are. And that is the whole thing about Black history, understanding who you are and standing firm and resolute in who you are. When we started our emancipation program in Soufriere, and it ran for many years, when we started our summer program, and that led into the Flobois Gaia Awards and so on, we did that for many years. So how did these people expect us to accept inviting another organization coming into our yard and telling us how to run or how to prepare to celebrate Emancipation Day? Only because this time around they had money to do it. When under the presidency of Stiley Glenn Allen, for many years we run this program of emancipation. All right? And I want to come back to this community identity thing that BA brought up a while ago in terms of what they're doing at their schools. These things are important. These things are important, just like the SAT program was important. And the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation saw no vision of supporting programs like that. In simple ways, they could support programs like that. They saw no vision. They had no vision in supporting programs of this nature, our Emancipation Day program and so on. But they could turn on, I think it was last year, give so much money to national organizations to do the very same things that Soufriere Action Theatre was doing a long time. And we were doing it in a better way because we were involving our community in it. So the community identity thing started with Soufriere Action Theatre. Because what were we doing? In our Flobois Gaia Awards, we were recognizing our people in our community that would have not been recognized. For example, may his soul rest in peace. When we recognize a person like Seto, for example, who was working in the Soufriere Town Council for many years, that infamous man that passed away a couple of years ago, he used to live opposite the church. He was the one beautifying the square with beautiful flowers and so on, keeping the square clean. We recognize people like that in our communities. Miss Marge, for decades, running a tea boutique. We recognize her for that. Mr. Aglan, who passed away, Agnan Joseph, who passed away, he was one of the recipients of our Flobois Gaia Awards because he kept on the tradition of blacksmith in our community. Now, there are people who do not think these kind of people, from their perspective, supposed to be recognized. But Soufriere Action Theatre understand community identity. We were saying to our young people, we were giving our young people some narratives of importance. We were celebrating our own people. We were celebrating our own history. And you mean to tell me the people who are given our monies, our resources to take care of these things cannot see that Soufriere Action Theatre is on a positive and on the right track? Why are they trying to stigmatize us or castigate us? I am going to say this here, and I'm going to say it with resolve, that we are the most progressive group in this community of ours. It's undeniable. So if people are at the point where they cannot recognize that for 40 years, over 40 years, they cannot recognize that, 43 years, well, perhaps the death of Mr. Emma will have them to recognize that. Because, and I want to go there because Mabla was instrumental in the birth of Soufriere Action Theatre. As a matter of fact, he was one of the founding members, together with myself and Zyphus Joseph, who formed the Soufriere Action Theatre coming out of Wasin Sports and Cultural Club in 1980, thereabout, 81, 1980. All right? So it is this kind of things that is necessary when we are speaking of Black history. All right? Our agenda, in essence, Soufriere Action Theatre, is fundamentally about recognition of our Blackness. Is recognition of our Blackness. Because we understand that we are the only people made to feel guilty for loving ourselves, for caring for ourselves, for respecting ourselves.
Now, why is that? Why would you be made to feel guilty for doing what every other group of people, every other people, so to speak, are promoting, are being told to do, are advised to do, are being asked to set programs to do, which is to recognize yourself, to better yourself, to develop yourself. We see it in all the Millennium Goals and the SDGs and all these things. That's what nations are being asked to do. Yet it appears that if black nations appear to do it, then automatically there is a reason to invade them, there is a reason to deny them funding, there is a reason to sanction them. The same happens on the local level. If a group attempts to be independent of the political parties, to have its own free voice, to give its views and articulate it clearly about whatever ills are there in the society and the direction they feel the society must go, they are victimized by those that are in authority. Why? The question remains. I want to touch on a very important person you did mention that I think we can't go without mentioning among the persons that received the Flobwagaya Awards. That is Eugenia Mabwa. Iya decided to open her home to the children of those of us in the society who could ill afford to raise our children and send them to school, or those who had lost their parents, or those who were orphaned. She brought them into her home, and I recall that at the time that we chose to honor her, she had 18 children at her home. Some of them were at Soufriere Comprehensive Secondary School at the time. And when we awarded her for her work that she did unselfishly, I'm saying that and the tears are coming out of my eye. You know, it is so intense. Yeah. And somebody said to us, why are you all giving this woman an award? You know, she's receiving sacks of rice and flour. You see, she has benefit in what she's doing. And we looked at this individual who will remain unnamed for purposes that you fully understand. Yeah. And we said to this individual, so you actually feel that somebody is not entitled to benefit from the work that they do. So somebody opens up their home to 18 children that are not hers. Well, I should not even say they're not hers because they're all our children. That she, by law, is not responsible for. That she opened her home to them. And that if she receives a bag of rice to cook for them, that she's not entitled to eat from that bag of rice. You know, it shows the extent to which our people go when they get sucked into this partisan politics thing. Everything is about whether you're red or yellow. So if yellow is in power at the time and you're red, oh, well, it's because you're getting a bag of rice. Yeah. And vice versa. And we bring up these ridiculous justifications for what we do to the public. Yeah. Going back to Brother Emab. Brother Emab was instrumental in the Black History Month as Soufriere Action Theatre was celebrating it. In that at that time, there wasn't access to tents and money, etc. We had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to carry the pieces of wood and the pieces of galvanized to build a structure, the tapodin, to build a structure on the square under which we were going to carry out the activity. And Mr. Emab was instrumental in his knowledge of construction to assist in getting that done. And kudos to him in terms of his contribution to that.
I'm left speechless for sure. Kudos to him too. May his soul rest in peace. If we have to continue in terms of our local heroes, it would be far from over because there were a lot of persons in the smallest way possible. You need to give regards to them. And another thing as well too, we, the community and all of us tend to delve into monetary purposes. The spirit of voluntarism has been thrown out of the window, and I would love for Sat, like you all said, I mean, even given the story behind everything that has happened leading to this present day, and you all are still continuing, to chant what it's all about in terms of Black history and the tradition and those stories are there. Even you have to go and dust off the books, but it is all there. I think credit should be given to you all as well. Give you all your flowers, and we need to detach ourselves from let me help a brother and I'm expecting nothing back. But no, if you do not have a certain amount, you cannot get anything done. I think it's really sad.
Our people have always been a people of volunteerism. The spirit of volunteerism have always been our people.
Not really.
We were given this for our ancestors. We received it from our ancestors. We were always a people that was volunteering. But these evilest people who want to be selfish, who wants everything for themselves, them greedy Joes, they are the one that destroyed it. All right? Historically, we had what we had. We had Kudme, we had Jajune, we had Susu. This is selfishness. This is not selfishness. This is selflessness. This was the kind of cooperative collaboration that we had in our culture, that we were always volunteering. In my younger days, we were always doing cleanup campaigns, free spirited, and with enjoyment. Our old folks, I used to attend Jajunés, where a pot of dumpling and rice was cooked, and people did one day of gardening for you, and then the next time you repeat it to them. That was in our culture. That was in our culture.
May I add the
That's
the
great.
healing? You know, you went to a healer because you felt sick, you broke your leg, you have a sprain somewhere, yeah, and they healed you. They never charged you. If you chose to give them a gift, you did so. But they did this freely. It was always voluntary. I remember going to defunct Mr. Felix. I remember when I messed up my back, I went to my frame. You know, there was Georgie at Quellas. You had Tidoi and all of them. They did this free of charge, the voluntarism, and it's still there. We still have traditional healers who do the healing works for free. It was your choice how you decided to contribute towards their sustenance. Because if you don't contribute towards their sustenance, they're not there the second time you come.
Although when they see the exorbitant prices being charged at the hospitals and so on, they're getting a little bit jealous.
And rightly so, because I mean, if you come to me, I healed you. Sometimes you come barehanded. They use their own soft candle, they use their own herbs. Okay, they treat you. I mean, does somebody have to tell you that you contribute in whatever way you can?
Yes.
You're a farmer, bring 2 dash in. You're a fisherman, bring a few pounds of fish. You're a worker, contribute some dollars or make some groceries or something. You know, this was understood before. You never had to say so to somebody. They knew that they had to contribute.
So I wanted to say
Just,
to
just before, another example is the communal work. We
The
will know
wake, the lave.
Yeah, the lave. We will know that growing up, that whenever you go to the lave, everybody had to bring a pound of sugar, a coffee, or something nowadays. But the expectation now is they walk barehanded.
No,
And
they don't walk barehanded.
Well, there
They
is
don't
not
brand
a
it.
lave
They don't
thing
want
anymore.
behind
they come with their
with
bags,
bags.
to take away.
Yeah.
Now I'm happy you bring this up because you would know that this is something that I'm very passionate
Of
about.
course.
I hate, I'm telling you, I'm using that strong word. I hate that blocko style thing in our culture, celebrating the life of our deceased. It is vulgar, it is disrespectful, and it contravenes everything about us. Everything about us. This is why in the free weeks we are planned for Mr. Emab, we are trying to break down this pattern. We are not being, how to say it, we're not being stupid to think that we'll do that just by doing that. But we are,
Level of consciousness.
yes, we are trying to raise that, thank you, raise that awareness and that consciousness. That is how we were taught. When someone passed away in a family, it means that the family is in a state of mourning. Deepest sadness has engulfed this family. This family feels powerless because they have lost their loved ones. Our cultural practice was that the rest of the community support this family. You heard the word? Support this family in their days of mourning. So we gather somewhere at this family's home, no matter how small the home was in these days, in a tiny yard, and we supported the family. Jack would come with a bottle of strong rum. Jennifer would bring a pound of sugar. Anne-Marie would bring some coffee. And together, as a community, we supported lovingly the family in mourning. What we have now, the reverse. We expect the family in mourning to spend exorbitant amount of money to feed us, to give us drinks, to give us food. And not just that, we demonstrate a certain level of greed. We come to the family that are mourning. We want them to serve us. And whilst they are serving us, we are bombarding them. We want this, we want that, we want this, we want that. And we are so wicked in our manifestations. We bring bags to take away from the family in mourning. Now, you see, I'm passionate about that because to me, that is a high level of disrespect. This is a far, far away from who we are. And Black History Month should be about reconnecting us to who we are.
Not only do they come with the bags to carry away, they also greedily deprive those who are not coming from near.
True.
So provision is made for persons who came from afar. Maybe family members are coming from Castries, Vieux-Fort, and the family may say, okay, well, we have this activity at the St. Isidore's Hall for those persons who are from near, who attended the funeral and showed their face and gave support. And we have this activity at the house for family members who came from afar, that they can have an intimate family gathering, to mourn their loss. And we go and eat out what is at the St. Isidore's Hall, carry away with our bags, and by the time the St. Isidore Hall closes, we are already at the family home where they are catering for a few members of the family, and we go there to deprive those members who are coming from afar. It's unconscionable that you can do something like that. That provision was made for you, that you enjoyed the provision that was made for you, and then you come to take away the provision that was made for somebody else who is coming from further than you, had to travel, is without a meal, and is far from home.
I'm hoping we could find some time to focus our discussion on MAB. So you direct us into that when you. So please.
Thank you so much for that. Anything else you'll wish to share in terms of Black History Month? What would you like to leave with our listening audience? Some persons may be hearing that for the first time. And again, I applaud you all guys for actually touching on that. And I need us to raise the awareness. Let us support us, Black people. We tend to fight each other down too often.
Well, I hope I can come to it. There is a short saying, I'm black and I'm proud. These are 5 words, sir? I don't want to
I am black.
I don't want to count wrong.
Say again, I'll count.
Not I am. I'm black and I'm proud.
Black and I'm proud.
5 words. Right. So that's what I would like to leave.
I don't know whether in my absence my member touched on that. What we're trying to do as part of the activity for this month is to visit the schools and try to continue, because we have done that before. So I would say that it's not a new initiative. We have done that before, but we want to recommence the visiting of the school so that we could educate and participate with the children to have a better grasp and understanding of what our intention work is.
I want to sum up with a poem from my deceased comrade. That was Edward Innocent, who was also a district representative for Soufriere from 1992 to about 5 years, 1997. Yeah. And I'm doing that especially for my students at the primary school, because when I delivered it during the Nobel Laureate time, as I was invited there on Nobel Laureate Day, they are ecstatic about it, and I love that. All right. So Edos wrote about blackness. He wrote a lot about blackness, and he was a conscious young man when he ran for the district rep sit in Soufriere, and he won in 1992. But things didn't go the way we wanted for him. But to God be the glory still. May his spirit rest in peace. Simply black. I am simply black, African black. I am simply dark, African dark. I am simply smart, African smart. I am simply black, dark skin, black skin, smart skin. I am simply black. But you can understand that. I search for my history, but I can't find it in history. Sorry, I've searched for my ancestry, but I can't find it in history. My ancestry was decapitated. My history was amputated. Some fallacy was highlighted. Our beauty was adumbrated because I am simply black. I am just simply black. Why can't they understand that? I saw myself on a ship with torn sails in a calm wind. I saw myself with marks of a whip and their hidden thoughts on my skin. I am just simply black. How many can understand that? So you see the sentences of the middle passage, pigmented into plantation wage. The paragraphs of the triangle could do nothing but stifle. The essays of mercantilism, molded degradationism. I am just simply black. But you can't understand that. Who shall mend the sails? Who shall transform those passages and triangles and plantations? Who shall read of the essays we would like to read? African black, simply black. And in a way, this summarizes all what we have discussed here thus far.
I'm touched. Thank you so much for that. It's now 24 minutes after the hour of 11 a.m. in Surface and Lucia. And of course, the Eastern Caribbean. Just an apology for those persons who tried getting us earlier on, but I was so delved in the poem. But do feel free to call us up 730-5388 459-7885. We're right here. WhatsApp us 730-5388. It has been a great discussion. I don't want you all guys to end, because I know there's so much that has been untapped. But then thank you so much as we close down the curtains on Black History Month. Let's speak to our very own Mr. Innocent Emab Mabla and the impact he made. And it's just unfortunate he's not able to join us here, on this great occasion. But then let's speak to our local community and the country at large. This is, it is touching. And I will leave it to you guys. Who best can speak about it but how you all have been impacted.
Let's take a phone call.
So, FM, good morning to you.
Yes, Soufriere FM. I want to be on the program.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
Kylie.
Yeah. I am my brethren. Happy to hear you.
Give thanks. Blessed love.
Yeah, blessed love. I love the vibe. The vibe is good. I want to give you a little history there if I can. Just hear that. This is the drum that brought the message. This is the original drum made by Cypher that made Brother Mabla dance, that made all of us stand up and sweat before we attended to SAT business. This is our business. It is time the world know our business. It is time the world be acquainted with our business, because we love the world and we are part of the world and the world is part of us. I asking for a few things. Number one, respect to Africa. And when I say Africa, I don't mean a continent. I mean a spirit. And check out the words. Africa. C'est pas pièce comme café. Africa. A free spirit. That is what we are. Now I asking for a few things because they killed the goose that laid the golden egg. My brethren was deeply involved in my community as an African, major African. You know, he make me jealous. He make me jealous. I dig horrors when he traps, but he make me jealous. Papa Bois, respect. Papa Bois, respect. Papa Bois, respect. We have a spirit in the forest. We have a permanent spirit in nature. And Babylon must respect nature. It is our job. It is our responsibility to stand for nature. SAP, we will stand for nature. My brother was bigger than that still, you know. I call him for a bridge to be named after my brother, for Bandidin. My brother built 2 bridges to Soufriere for free.
Yes.
You know, my brother built 2 bridges in Soufriere. And I call in on the foundation. I have no authority, but I call in on them. I want a shrine in the Zion where my brother fell. A shrine that will stand up for nature and will stand up for Rastafari. Because Rastafari has been denied up to today for this very same forest. But my brother left his spirit in the forest. I jealous of that. I love that. I still asking for after school program for my children because they're going astray and I need them on the right path. And my brother was deeply involved in after school program all his life, teaching children for free. Everything for free, just like that, for free, for free, for free. Because we are free people. Africa are free people. We don't need anything. Everything we need is within our reach. Everything we want is in front of us, but we deny ourselves. And to my sisters, you have the power. It is your time. Your time is here. Stop telling women, get right, because you have the power. You make the children. Holy Mary, Mother of God. God had a mama. For you, the mamas, take responsibility for the nation and help SAT. And my brothers, ask the foundation to sponsor a cultural festival on behalf of my brother, just as we're going to celebrate his life. Make that be a continuous thing on behalf of my brother. I have much more to say, but let me leave it for Jah Public. Blessed.
Yeah, a lot said there from the brother in a short space of time. But I must disappoint you, my past president and brethren, that I will not ask the foundation to do something like that. The foundation ought to know that they must do something like that. This man gave his last service on the board of the foundation. The activity that he was involved with when he gave up his life was in coordination with the foundation. They know he gave them a cultural program that speaks of the same things that you are asking that we should tell them. They have it in writing. So we don't need to tell them. They must have the willingness. They are Soufriere Regional and Development Foundation. They are. That's the name. Soufriere Regional and Development. The development is there. And the Soufriere is there. Fortunately as well, in the mission statement, they are supposed to develop and preserve culture. It is their responsibility, and no one should have to say that to them. They know it. That is what they are there for. That's what they were designed to do. That's why we are no longer asking for a $2,000 subvention for the job there. We've stopped asking, because I shouldn't be asking for something that is your mandate to deliver. It is the mandate.
Yeah. And that's instructive because Mabla engaged us in the formation of the cultural policy for Soufriere. As the brother said, it is in the hands of the district rep because we saw her waved it in parliament. We also saw her waved it at a session at the Soufriere Primary School, and we know that they have it. And so, like the brother said, I agree with him 100%. We have nothing to ask. We are tired of asking. We are tired of begging. We are not beggars at our home. We should not be begging at our home. We are here. We have manifested what we are capable of doing. We have done. We have done, as you rightly said, and I like that suggestion you give there, naming one of these bridges after the brother. All right, because as I try to, you'll indicate it. I'm trying to forget it. Yeah,
We're talking about the bridge next to Fatih. That's the
by the
bridge
field there.
Behind the stadium.
Right.
Yeah, so that bridge was built by Mr. Emab at the time in collaboration with what was then the New Development Committee and the Soufriere Action Theatre. And the bridge next to where we call the Laja Bless, now next to
Yes,
Marcy.
that was the one.
That bridge also was built by Mr. Emab. And we think one of them should be named in his honor. I think that's quite a suggestion.
And if I was always been an individual and I got into community through sports, and it was Mabla who actually introduced me into community work, and that was the first thing I did with him when it came to community work. I did work on both of the bridges, and I was there with him learning the ropes on different things. And at the time, he was also part of the chairperson of the council, I think the council back then. Yeah. And I was going around with him doing community work, and I think that's where I got to know Mabla involved in the community. Yeah.
I was asked to put something together to talk about Emab. All right, Mabla. And the first paragraph, this is what it is. Innocent Mabla Emab was undeniably a community man. That's the whole fact. He was a community man, and there is no one that can deny this. All right? His passion seemed to etched in the Soufriere Action Theatre motto, community development through participation and work. Participation and work. And most times when Mabla was engaged in these projects, he was not too much about whether money was coming into his pocket. He wanted to see the work manifest in the best interest of the community, because it was community that was important to him first. Because Mabla's philosophy was, if things are better in the community, all of us have a better standing. All of us can share a better life. That was his philosophy. And he manifested this love for community with unbroken certainty. And I think that is what Stylie Joe is saying. That is what Brother Jude saw. That is what BA saw. That is what Soufriere Action Theatre saw. And that is our intention, to recognize that levity that Mabla was about. He never slept in his community when it comes to community development. From Natty Youths to Wasin Sports and Cultural Club, to the Soufriere Youth and Sports Council, to the New Development Committee, and as BA highlighted, as a chairman of the Soufriere Constituency Council, or they used to call it Tongue Council at that time. There was no mayor yet, there was chairman. Yeah. Mabla was a chairman, he was a mayor. And what I remember, I was living in Canada at the time, and I was coming down mostly yearly. And what I remember clearly about that period of time when Mabla was the chairman of the Town Council, he was always on the field.
On the ground. He was
always on the ground. Whether it's in the Jalabushui, checking the how high the sun is and what is to be done, going on to the communities and talking to the people of their needs and so on. That was Mabla. Mabla will not sit in an office.
1 second, we have a call. Let's just take the person ended. Sorry. Continue. They'll call back.
Yeah, what Vaco was saying is an important phase of Mabla's contribution to his community, because during those years of chairmanship at the Town Council, he instituted the garbage collection system that we still have today. It was non-existent prior to his tenure as the chairman of the Town Council. And kudos to him for that we organize a proper program for garbage collection within the town of Soufriere.
Anything else?
We can talk about Mabla's days with Thea Pepla.
Let's
Where
look, and after we will just maybe look at how has he impacted your life as a SAT member, personal reflections.
Yeah, we also want to look at the weeks that we have arranged
Yes.
for him. Yes, but I was saying in terms of the Thea Pepla movement with FRC, that Soufriere Action Theatre was one of the groups within that Thea Pepla movement.
A leading
And
group.
Mabla went as far as Monnier. At that time, I was a young member of the group and I was tagging along with him to animate popular theatre groups as far as Monnier on the east. He also did it with Victoria Youth Movement in Choiseul, okay, and of course with Soufriere Action Theatre. So, and all of that was being done voluntarily. There was no payment. Yeah. These days, when people volunteer, they get payment. But at that time, when you were volunteering, there was no payment. Yeah. So Mabla volunteered, and there was no payment.
Yeah, you done with that?
I don't know if you want to talk about the carnival
Yeah.
days of Mabla.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's true. You introduced us to.
hey, part of his community vibe was Carnival. As a matter of fact, I met a young man. Well, is he a young man still? Jerry on the security on the bus stand. He would like to hear that. And he was giving me his little reflection of Mabla. And he told me he remembered when they were in standard 3, Mabla brought them into Carnival as students. He brought his students at the primary school, St. Dominic Xavier Primary School, to Carnival. And here was his band, the Caribs and the Awawaks. The Caribs and the Awawaks. And that continued with Wasin. Mabla was instrumental in the Wasin band, designed and led by Bones Alexander, Earl Alexander Bones. Yes, Roots of Progress. And that band depicted what? African people's pride, kings and queens, prince and princesses, the glory of Africa. That was a portrayal of that band as conceptualized by Mabla, Bones, and others. All right. Now, in addition to that, as a member of the Youth and Sports Council, I was fortunate to be the public relations officer at that time on the council executive. And Mabla, we organized Carnival, and Mabla worked like a donkey to ensure that we got enough plywood to plywood or fence the entire Old Trafford for what he conceptualized as Carnival Village. And in his conceptualization of Carnival Village, we were supposed to have in Carnival Village school calypso. Yeah. He insisted upon that. School calypso. The pageants and everything was there. And we left all of these plywood that we gotten from the Ministry of Community Development under the guidance of Mabla to the Soufriere Town Council. And under our noses, they allow it to disappear just like that when it was supposed to be used to generate funds and resources for the council. That was the thing in Mabla. Mabla doesn't do anything that doesn't have some long-term impact. All right. So these are some of the things and other much other things that he has done in the organizations of sporting tournaments that Barry spoke about, because when he formed Natty Youth, it was all about that. And another narrator that could tell you lots about Mabla is Michael Eugene Homie, because they were schoolmates together for a very long time. And I remember the week Homie gave an incredible story about their journeying from school late and what happened to them in Canries and so on, where they had to sleep at the Canries police station on the bench. So there is a lot. Mabla as Calypsonian in Carnival. Soufriere Carnival. Mabla is Calypsonian.
Yeah, if you less than 45 years, you would not know about Mabla as a Calypsonian. And there's a famous Calypso that he sang and forgot his lines on stage. I think I wrote a few of the lines somewhere. It went something like that. His stage name was Prince Mabla. Yeah. It went, come let we whip them, come let we make them ball. That was his chorus for that song. And somewhere along the route, Mabla forgot the lyrics. And so you know what happens when that happens to you on stage.
Yeah.
But Mabla was into Kaiso, and Soufriere Action Theatre was always in the background with the skits. And I remember one year that Soufriere Action Theatre performed for the entirety of the Calypsonians who sang that year at the old Cinecraft Theatre, where Whispers was housed later on. That Soufriere Action Theatre performed for about 9 Calypsonians in one night. So Mabla has been at it for a very long time, and I think we want to talk a little bit on how we are celebrating.
Yeah, even before that, I contact with him, and maybe some of your guys maybe were not aware that the first Junior Creole we had in Soufriere was under the leadership of Mabla.
Yes.
And I was
absent.
And I was with him. And imagine that. And you know Mabla on the ground. And sometimes night time, I have to go Fort Saint Jacques. We have to go Belfort. And sometimes we don't show over ride, and we started walking. And I remember we had that Junior Creole at that time, the mini stadium. And it's actually, we had to go and cut bamboos and carry. Imagine we were part of the committee and we had to leave what we do at times and ensure that. So I was there with him, and that's how I was blessed.
That's where the field was at the time, but
yes,
it's not that structure of mini stadium yet.
And then whatever Bill Sykes
that's probably the late 80s or early 90s.
Yes. And that's why I was blessed into community activity. And these are the stuff that I learned. And that's why, and he was somebody with him, you make sure that you're grounded and you understand the community vibe. And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, thanks for raising that, my bro. Maybe we can talk now to how Soufriere Action Theatre is celebrating the life of the brother. You want to start that ball rolling?
Yeah, well, what we have done so far as a group, as Soufriere Action Theatre, we have contemplated 3 weeks in his honor. The first one occurred at his home, where he lived with his children and his wife. That is of new development. We had that.
It is important. It was 8 days.
Yeah. We tried to keep the tradition, so it was 8 days after his death. We tried to follow the similar tradition for the second week, but it was not to be, because in terms of how we calculated the days, because of certain situations. So tonight we are at Smoke Hill. And Smoke Hill is significant. That's Upper Victoria Street. It's significant because that's where Mabla was when he was a boy. That's where his family was, his mother and father. And that's where he had his boyhood days, in that area, the Bombay area. So we are there tonight. We are going to be there around 6 o'clock and have a 3-hour celebration of his life there in that area, which is a significant area. It is our intention to have what we call the third week, which is a community week, where we are bringing the community together. We want to bring the community together to celebrate Emab's life. So all organizations that have impacted or you have worked with and so on we'll try to have them part of that, like Folk Research Center, SRDF, Youth and Sports Council, close friends and relatives. We're gonna want it to be open to the community. Now, because it's a wake, it's a lave, it's a vigil. Yes, it's a vigil, not a blocko. We are keeping to our tradition the best we can. When you are coming to these wakes or vigil, please bring something with you. If you're going to drink Scotch whiskey, bring your Scotch whiskey. If you're going to bring coffee, bring your coffee. And feel free to look for a cold pot too, because you don't know if we have cold pots there and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We're making it communal. So that's what we're hoping to. For now, tentatively, we are targeting February 20th, not 28th, but 20th, 20. as the date for the communal wake, or what my brother calls it, vigil, the community vigil. That's what we are hoping for, because we want to have it before his burial. We are understanding now his burial will be on Saturday the 24th. All right, that's what we have been told. Saturday the 24th. More details will follow on that when we have it at our hands. But this is what Soufriere Action Theater is doing in terms of celebration of his life. So join us tonight in your freedom at Smoke Hill. That's how they call it, Upper Victoria Street. We'll be on the steps by DFM Mr. Mike. That's where we did it the last time for his dad, who was a legendary masquerader. And hopefully it is our intention. I'm letting you know our intention, because it is not carved in stone yet. It is not final decision yet. Our intention is to have the community vigil at Old Trafford, the bus terminal area. That's our intention. We have to speak to the relevant authorities and so on. So that's where we are. If I left anything out, the other two hydrants will fill you in. Thank you very much.
So I think that touches it very well. My understanding also is that the passing of the baton in the National Rally for Independence, which reaches Soufriere tomorrow, that the leg from Victoria is in honor of Mr. Emab, and therefore the Soufriere Action Theater will be there to do a little drumming in that particular leg of the passing of the baton rally around the island. So that's my understanding is that's at 8:30 in the morning. It's a very crucial timing because, Walter Rodney, and I would really want to be with my house people cheering them on because we have school sports on that same day. But we need to honor the brother, and so sacrifices must be made somewhere, something must give. So persons who enjoy the rally should find themselves at Victoria, where the drumming is going to take place in honor of Mr. Emab for that leg of the passing of the baton. That is tomorrow.
And in everything that we do, we're trying to educate some young ones. We have a junior SAP membership, and I'm a convener. I'm the one in charge of them. And for that, we will want them also to make a presentation on behalf of Mabla for that event.
Thank you so very much. 10 minutes moving over to the hour of 12 noon in Surface Solution, of course, the Eastern Caribbean. At this time, let me just reach out to all our viewers. Indeed, immense gratitude. We have Bryanson, Starkert Solange, great show. We have Charlotte Joe, my condolences to you all. Cyphers Joseph, hence the reason we Lucian see white better than black, little black boy. Delta Bowenza, Vinci Massive, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm watching you and listening to you all from Bay Cutter, Fancy, St. Vincent. Yanasha William, I highly agree, Mr. Joseph. Say it again. We have Paula Calix, great show. Cephas Joseph again saying hi, Paula. Hello. Great contributions. Valentine Riviere. Bravo, Mabla. Jane Felix. Enjoying the program. Truth be told. Marcia Innocent Osborne. Great session. Rest peacefully. Mabs.
Marcia Innocent is an original member of Soufriere Action Theater.
Ah.
Yes.
Nice. Nadia Kazabo. Go. She again did reach out and say, "Rip, Mr. Emab." And of course, we do appreciate all those comments pouring in nicely as well. And to all those of you who made the effort to actually tune in to listen to this special edition of our house guest, immense gratitude to you. Your personal reflection just before we end the program, or if there were any other talking points, I welcome that as well.
Mabla was a poet. Mabla was a playwright. So it would not be nice of me if I live here and do not read one of his poems, because we are putting a publication, we are putting a collection together for publication. And so out of this draft manuscript I want to read one of his poems. It's called Man. The life of a man, oh, that's simple. Conceived in a womb, consumed in a tomb. It's that simple. So you are 48. That is great, though it's late. You I appreciate as you celebrate a day that is affectionate and meant to be designate your entry to death. Your entry to death. So you are BB. I'll call you sweetie, cause your smile help others walk a mile. Don't forget your style, not for a while. That's what makes you one of the very few. This life you live, the warmth you give, chases away the blues, even pangs of abuse. Don't change your good nature, you as no other. Don't want others to suffer. You're blessed by the Creator. That's Mabla talking about man. Now, this is in that poem, there's one of the quotes that we want to be on any t-shirt that we do for Mabla. It says, cause your smile help others walk a mile. A lot of people are saying that Mabla had an incredible smile. And I find that these two lines there really capture that attitude or that reflection of others about Mabla.
Yeah, Mabla touched a lot of people's life, and he touched mine in a very individual and direct way. I remember my early days teaching that my meals were in Mabla's kitchen, that I'd come from work at 12, go to Mabla's home, eat, go back to work, So I was touched in a very particular way by Mabla during those early days of teaching where, young teachers often do not get a salary until 3 months. You are struggling to try to buy work clothes and other stuff. And dispensable money is very difficult to come by. Mabla was by my side to assist at that crucial time. So I was touched personally by Mabla in that regard. So I want to show my appreciation and honor to the brother. Death shall not find us thinking that we die. Journey well, my brother.
I think just to close on him, I remember even before he built on the rock, I used to go up there, and he had that special connection with the community. And I think that he did a lot, seeing the community from that top. Sometime on the afternoon, we used to sit there, and he used to just vision on the community. And then we used to talk a lot of things. And sometimes when it rained, we're never in a hurry. And that rock that is part of the house, we used to go under that rock. And that rock also became part of the house. And I think he saw a lot of the things pertaining to Soufriere from that point of view. Yes.
Death must not find us thinking that we die. Death must not find us thinking that we die. So we say to his soul,
take a rest.
So we say to his soul,
take a rest.
Oh, so we say to his soul,
take a rest.
Death must not find us thinking that we die. Death must not find us thinking that we die. Oh, death must not find us thinking that we die. So we say to his soul,
take a rest.
Oh, so we say to his soul,
take a rest.
Oh, so we say to his soul,
take a rest.
Death must not find us thinking that we die. Death must not find us thinking
that we die.
Death must not find us thinking
that we die.
So we say to his soul,
take a rest.
So we say to his soul.
Take a rest.
So we say to his soul.
Take a rest.
Adding my voice to that. So we say to his soul.
Take a rest.
Well said indeed. We have Nadia Kazabo again saying, I want a copy of that poem, Vaco. Rips, one of my favorite teacher. You will be missed greatly, Benton Polio. Nadia Kazabo again. My very first year teaching, Mr. Felix assigned me to Mabla as assistant homeroom teacher to a Form 5 class. Valentine again, my childhood neighbor, rest in peace, Mabla. The soul does not die, the soul continues to live. Very informative show. Lots I didn't know about Mabla. Keep up the good work, gentlemen. That was Paula Calixon. It just continues to pour in, and we would be there the whole day. I must say gratitude to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. An exciting Wednesday house guest. And here's what I'm saying. I look forward to having sat on its own program. I will facilitate that for sure. So this is something you guys can look out to. Let's give people the flowers, while they can still accept it, whilst they're still alive. That is the most important thing. And who knows, maybe I can be part of that flow guayo.
Flobwagaya.
Flo Boagaya or whatever. I could be a nominee on that. Who knows?
Well, the Flopwag Awards have not taken place in a long time because
Why is that?
we did not have the funding to continue the program, and so we stopped it. So it hasn't happened for quite some time.
Well, here is the platform. Make them please.
Bank had taken up a similar program that they're called Unsung Heroes, just around the time that we stopped. I don't know if that program of Barclays Bank is still ongoing.
Okay, well, listen to something with so many viewers that are there. I think the appeal can be made. It will definitely not go unnoticed. Let the people know you all are looking to comments and sponsors in cash or in kind. Everything is welcome.
The organization must happen and the structures must be put back in place. It does not just happen by saying it.
But I think it can happen.
It can happen.
Okay. Any final commendations, encouragement, again, appealing to the public and let them know, please refrain from your bad manners, bring whatever you all are eating and drinking.
Also come with your tributes. Come and prepare, write it so that you are not lost in terms of how Mabla affected your life, how it touched you, how it reached you. So we expect people to come and give their tributes. It is a vigil, not exactly a week in the sense of a week. So we expect people to come and give their tributes in terms of how Mabla touched their lives or touched the community in their own opinion and in their own experience. We expect to have Tabumele, we expect to have Kui, maybe a vote service.
What's Kui?
It's a group from VF4 coming out of Tabumele that was very close to Soufriere Action Theatre and very close to Mr. Imab. We've collaborated a lot together, and they were present at the first levee for Mr. Imab at his home. They were there. The Chater, who did most of the cut for the night, is a member of Kui. They have promised to be there. We expect Kennedy Boots Samuel. We don't know whether he will be speaking on behalf of the FRC or on his own behalf. So we're expecting various persons whose life Mabla touched in different ways, various organizations who Mabla contributed to, that they would come with their prepared tributes to him at that vigil on the 20th.
Okay, then.
There's a wonderful word that I came across in Swahili, and it has been used a lot, and I think it's becoming a movement. It's Ubuntu, Ubuntu. I am because of you. I am because of you. I am because of you.
Before Mr. Regis, if he has to close, Rufus Andre Camaraderie, condolences to the entire SAT cast. Tracy Descartes, best homeroom teacher. Cause of him, I'm who I am today. Rest in peace, sir. Forever grateful. For me, I was privileged to host him on my show, and we have had a lot of discourse where I said to him, "You see that thing you burning?" And he said, "Ma'am, you need to stop that. That's not good for you." So he said, "But how you mean and stuff? That is life, that actually opens your mind and helps you with the thinking and all those different things and stuff." I say, "Yeah, I agree, but you're man of intellectual being. You can do that without, that extra pushing kind of thingy." But then he was a really nice gentleman, very pleasant, very, very bubbly, outgoing. And like you did mention, a community activist. Indeed, I will miss bringing him on my program, but then death is not the end for sure. He will and always will be in mind and in spirit for sure. Journey well. Love you.
Rufus Andre, one of the messages you read there, Rufus Andre. Our sympathies, my brother, the passing of his mom. I think Rufus' mom will be buried. The funeral is on the 21st. The information I have, it will be at the Old Trafford bus terminal. Yes, Rufus? Yeah, we'll be there, brother. I'll be there for you. You know what it is. Miss May was my mother. Thank you very much for your support.
Ubuntu is also a free open source operating system.
Yeah.
Nadia
That's
Kasem.
what I have on my computer.
Yeah. Nice. Your final commendation, sir. You're busy removing photos. Huh?
Okay. And I think what I forgot is we made mention of Mabla engaged, but I remember vividly his last engagement was actually helping Soufriere people when it comes to the backyard gardening.
Yes, he was involved in that project.
That was his last community planning with Sunshine and then Mrs. Edmund, yes, and Marcella trying to get people into backyard gardening. But the brother man I've learned a lot from him, my community life, and like I said earlier on, I'm thankful and appreciative. Bless.
Well said, indeed. I am thankful for this tribute twofold, Black History Month and the Communal Week. I must say immense gratitude to you guys, Sat, for coming in. And it's just the first. We need to bring people up to speed as the day gets closer for the Communal Week. And if I may, look forward to later this evening as well at Smoke Hill. And we're encouraging persons to really come out as well with your pieces, how you were impacted some way or the other, and put that forward tonight with the group. Time, sir?
From 6 o'clock.
From 6 o'clock. This is where we end. Thank you so much to the listening audience, to all those of you who tuned in. Gratitude always. 5 minutes after the 12 o'clock hour, this is where we end. Please continue to join the broadcast. I'm reminding you as well at 2, I have Soufriere Comprehensive in the house coming in to discuss the track meet. So this is happening tomorrow. Who will reign champions? We don't know.
Rodney Massive.
Massive.
There are many houses, but Rodney is the best house. Rodney keep best love.
I started
Ira
that.
Massive.
I
Ready.
started
Red
that.
The
and
blue
ready.
wave, the blue wave.
Red and ready.
According to the point
Marco,
standing,
you have already retired from
What business
you
you
already
have with
retired from Ira. Wait for an invitation. Man.
I
Just
am
be
not
quiet.
retired from Ira, man.
My goodness, I started something
are
there.
your fans aware of the point standing?
Boy.
Yes,
Yeah,
Clark is in
yeah,
the lead.
Clark
That's
is in the
that's
lead.
not
What can
news.
I
That's not
say?
news.
That's
That's not news.
That's
Are
anybody's
Hep,
game.
hep,
Are
man.
you aware of the history? Are you aware of the history?
That's anybody's game. Man.
The
Hep,
point
hep, hooray
standing
to
from the
whichever
school
house
never
you
matters.
go to.
On the track, that's what
Well,
matters.
this year it matters.
No,
You know, it's significant. No, let me give you a point.
We've seen entries on the field with 800
No,
points.
no, but
lead.
this year is
And they
significant.
was-
Why
No,
is
but
it
this
significant?
why is significant?
Yes.
The brother man what was his house?
Imab,
Yeah, what was his house?
Clark, that's true. And Clark is
There
in
you
the
go.
lead. I will.
There you go.
I will take that.
There
I
you
will
go.
take note
So
of
this
that.
man
I will
There
has
you
to
go.
something
There you go.
in depth.
Here you go.
But listen to
Here
that,
you
guys.
go. I say no more.
will
I
take
say
note
no
of that.
more.
That's significant.
I say no more.
I accept that as a
I
good
accept that
observation.
and I agree.
I accept no more.
Good
I say
observation.
no.
Kudos to the best house.
I
And
didn't say
fire
this one coming.
coming on the road. Ira, Toussaint, Clark, Rodney. I'm supporting all the houses. But at the end of the day, one winner.
Yeah, one winner.
Let this man give us a piece. For the first time at the primary school is having the sports meet under the lights. You want to speak about that?
Under
Because
the
it's
lights,
happening on
Padley
Friday.
and Pat
Under
lights.
the
That's
lights.
interesting. That's nice.
Under the lights, yes, we're having our sports meet on Friday, and we're trying something different, and just to get the parents involved, because many years they have been saying that
They at work.
they are at work and stuff. So we're trying to get them involved. So we have it from 3 o'clock until 8 o'clock. We are concerned because based on the time and the first time, so we're trying to fit everything within about 4 hours, or at least we could get the children back home very, very, very early. But they're excited. We are also excited. The community is excited. So I want everybody to come out and have an enjoyable Friday.
I will be there.
I will be there. I'm excited as well too. But my concern in terms of policing or security,
Yes, security,
because
that
we've seen the
is-
behavior
yes.
of the children.
Yes,
and
yeah,
given
that's
it's
what-
a Friday night after school, they're
Yes.
looking for where else can I lie? You know,
Yeah.
what control.
So what we have put in, that is critical. Is what we have put in place in the assistant of the police. We're trying to get the inspector to at least get enough police on the ground, and also we have informing the parents that as soon as the meet will be putting on the PA that you get your child whatever. So you come in with the houses in the houses, so you stay close. So as soon as we say dismiss time, your parents are there to hand over the children to the parents, so at least that they could get.
Yeah, the parents themselves must do a lot of policing, not just
Yes,
the police, but
yes.
the parents must also be the police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as we dismiss
You know,
them,
in
the
our
parents are-
experience, the bad behavior has more often been from members of the public, inclusive
Outsiders.
of parents,
parents, yeah.
that
That
come
come in,
into the meet
infiltrate,
Rather than the children.
Yep.
Yep.
People outside here.
a stranger's dismissal.
Okay,
That's
could
what
you
has
speak to, because I know there's a fee attached to coming into the stadium as well. You
Oh,
want
yes,
to
the
discuss
entrance
that?
fee would be $10 adults and $5 for kids. Yes.
So must I pay? No.
happened. You are
You're
not-
invited, yes. You're invited.
As long as you come with your 88.5 badge,
Yes.
What a way to end. Kudos to the
Ira!
house.
Rodney!
Don't do that.
Yeah, red and ready.
Ira,
home.
the blue wave.
Go home. This is how we end, folks.
Thank you.